Aquaculture technology. We shall discuss here biotechnology using chromosomal and gene manipulation, transgenic fish, super males, artificial insemination and cryopreservation of gametes and embryos. Also, we shall talk about the economics of production. The systems and technology used in aquaculture has developed rapidly in the last 50 years. They vary from very simple facilities, example family ponds for domestic consumption in tropical countries, to high technology systems, that is intensive closed systems for export production. Much of the technology used in aquaculture is relatively simple, often based on small modifications that improve the growth and survival rates of target species, example improving food, seeds, oxygen levels and protection from predators. Selective breeding of fish has yielded sustained improvements in growth of at least 5 to 10% generation, resulting in strains that perform much better in farm conditions than their wild ancestors. To reduce poverty and hunger while minimizing the impacts on ecosystem services requires that the world fish and development partners must achieve implementation of robust genetic improvement programs in focal countries that will sustain the continued development of productive strains of fish and aquatic invertebrates that meet the needs of poor producers and consumers. Introduction. Despite the predictions of a growing aquaculture industry, stagnant world capture fisheries and increased human population could lead to a global shortage of fish and fish products in the coming years. Use of biotechnology in aquaculture has the potential to alleviate these predicted fish shortages and price increases by enhancing production efficiency, minimizing costs and reducing disease. Transgenic fish will be equally beneficial to aquaculture and is more effective than traditional breeding techniques to develop new fish strains. In principle, the technology can be used among others to improve growth rate of the fish, control sexual maturation, sterility and sex differentiation, improve survival by increasing disease, resistance against pathogens, adapt to extreme environments such as cold resistance and alter biochemical characteristics of the flesh to enhance the nutritional qualities. Fish culture technologies allow gene conservation of endangered species via a captive breeding program. A large number of products is offered on the market, including non-alimentary products such as fish skin, leather, drugs and chemicals. A large number of technologies are involved in the culture and processing of fish. Some are engineering technologies dealing with all the physical and mechanical aspects to handle water and organisms. Others are dealing with the biology of ecosystem, including biomanipulation by introducing fish or the biology of cultivated organisms. More recent technologies of the agro industry are involved in processing of some cultivated species. Such include artificial insemination and cryopreservation of gametes and embryos of some fish species. Considerable research in this area is being conducted so as to get the best practices in aquaculture and product economics. Biotechnology using chromosomal and gene manipulation, also called as chromosomal engineering. Gonadotropin releasing hormone is now the best available biotechnological tool for the induced breeding of fish. This is the key regulator and central initiator of reproductive cascade in all vertebrates. It is a decapeptide and was first isolated from pig and sheep hypothalami with the ability to induce pituitary release of luteinizing hormone, that is LH, and follicle stimulating hormone FSH. Since then, only one form of GnRH has been identified in most placental mammals, including human beings, as the sole neuropeptide causing the release of LH and FSH. However, in non-mammalian species, 12 GnRH variants have now been structurally elucidated. Among them, 7 or 8 different forms have been isolated from fish species. Depending on the structural variant and their biological activities, number of chemical analogues have been prepared, and one of them is Salmon GnRH analog, profusely used now in fish breeding and marketed commercially under the name Ovaprim throughout the world. The induced breeding of fish is now successfully achieved by development of GnRH technology. Chromosome sex manipulation techniques to induce polyploidy, that is tetraploidy and triploidy, and uniparental chromosome inheritance, that is gynogenesis and androgenesis, have been applied extensively in cultured fish species. These techniques are important in the improvement of fish breeding as they provide a rapid approach of gonadal sterilization, sex control improvement of hybrid viability and clonation. Most vertebrates are diploid, meaning that they possess two complete chromosome sets in their somatic cells. Polyploidy individuals possess one or more additional chromosome sets, bringing the total to 3 in triploids, 4 in tetraploids, and so on. Induced triploidy is widely accepted as the most effective method for producing sterile fish for aquaculture and fisheries management. The methods used to induce triploids and other types of chromosomal set manipulations in fishes and the applications of these biotechnologies to aquaculture and fishery management are well described in some research papers. Tetraploid breeding lines of potential benefit to aquaculture by providing a convenient way to produce large number of sterile triploid fish through simple interploidy crosses between tetraploids and diploids. Although tetraploidy has been induced in many finfish species, the viability of tetraploids was low in most instances. In teleosts, techniques for inducing sterility include exogenous hormone treatment and triploidy induction. The use of hormone treatment, however, could be limited by governmental regulations and a lack of consumers' acceptance of hormone treated fish products. Triploidy can be induced by exposing eggs to physical or chemical treatment shortly after fertilization to inhibit extrusion of the second polar body. Such triploid fish are expected to be sterile because of the failure of homologous chromosomes to synapse correctly during the first meiotic division. Methods of triploidy induction include exposing fertilized eggs to temperature shocks, hot or cold, hydrostatic pressure shock, or chemicals such as colchicine, cytochalazine B, or nitrous oxide. Triploid can be produced by crossing tetraploids and diploids. Tetraploid induction involves fertilizing eggs with normal sperm and exposing the diploid zygote for physical or chemical treatments to suppress the first mitotic division. Gynogenesis. Gynogenesis is the process of animals' development with exclusive maternal inheritance. The production of gynogenetic individuals is of particular interest to fish breeders because of high level of inbreeding can be induced in single generation. Gynogenesis may also be used to produce all female populations in species with female homogamety and to reveal the sex determination mechanisms in fish. It is convenient to use all female gynogenetic progenies instead of normal bisexual progenies for sex inversion experiments. Methodologies combining use of induced gynogenesis with hormonal sex inversion have been developed for several aquaculture species. Androgenesis is the process by which we would have commercial application in aquaculture. It can also be used in generating homozygous lines of fish and in the recovery of lost genotypes from the cryopreserved sperms. Androgenetic individuals have been produced in a few species of cyprinids, cichlids, and salmonids. Now we talk about transgenic fish and transgenics in aquaculture. The term transgenic refers to an individual in which a transgene, that is an isolated gene sequence used to transform an organism, has been integrated into its genome. Several different terms have been used for referring to organisms carrying an altered genetic composition due to the insertion of foreign genetic material through the use of genetic engineering or recombinant DNA technologies. These include genetically modified or engineered organisms, trans or cisgenic organism, recombinant DNA organism, living modified organism, or organisms obtained through the use of biotechnology, etc. Transgenics or transgenesis may be defined as the introduction of exogenous gene or the DNA component into host genome, resulting in its stable maintenance, transmission and expression. The technology offers an excellent opportunity for modifying and improving the genetic traits of commercially important fish, mollusks and crustaceans for aquaculture. The idea of producing transgenic animals became popular when scientists first produced transgenic mouse by introducing metallothenin human growth hormone fusion gene MTHGH into mouse egg, resulting in dramatic increase in growth. This triggered a series of attempts on gene transfer in economically important animals including fish. The first transgenic fish was produced by scientist Zhu and his colleagues in 1985 in China, who claimed the transgenic expression and putative transgenics, although they gave no molecular evidence for the integration of the transgene. The technique has now been successfully applied to a number of fish species. Dramatic growth enhancement have been shown using this technique, especially in salmonids. Some studies have revealed enhancement of growth in adult salmon to an average of 3 to 5 times the size of non to transgenic controls, with some individuals, especially during the first few months of growth, reaching as much as 10 to 30 times the size of control. The introduction of transgenic techniques has simultaneously put more emphasis on the need for production of sterile progeny in order to minimize the risk of transgenic stocks mixing with the wild populations. The technical development has expanded the possibilities for producing either sterile fish or those whose reproductive activity can be specifically turned on or off using inducible promoters. This would clearly be of considerable value, allowing both optimal growth and controlled reproduction of transgenic stocks while ensuring that any escaped fish would be unable to breed. An increased resistance of fish to cold temperature has been another subject of research in fish transgenics for the past several years. Cold water temperatures pose a considerable stress to many fish. Only a few are able to survive water temperatures much below 0 to 1 degree centigrade. This is often a major problem in aquaculture in cold climates. Interestingly, some marine teleosts have high levels, that is 10 to 25 milligram per ml of serum antifreeze proteins AFPs or glycoproteins. These proteins, which effectively reduce the freezing temperature by preventing ice crystal growth. The isolation, characterization and regulation of these antifreeze proteins, particularly of the interflounders, that is Pleuronectus americanus, has been the subject of research for a considerable period in Canada. The most promising tool for the future of transgenic fish production is undoubtedly in the development of embryonic stem cell technology. These cells are undifferentiated and remain totipotent, so they can be manipulated in vitro and subsequently reintroduced into early embryos, where they can contribute to the germ line of the host. This would facilitate the genes to be stably introduced or deleted. Although significant progress has been made in several laboratories around the world, there are numerous problems to be resolved before the successful commercialization of the transgenic broodstock of aquaculture. To realize the full potential of transgenic fish technology in aquaculture, several important scientific breakthroughs are required. They include more effective technologies for mass gene transfer, targeted gene transfer technologies such as embryonic stem cell gene transfer, suitable promoters to direct the expression of transgenes at optimal levels during the desired developmental stages, identified genes of desirable traits for aquaculture and their applications, information on the physiological, nutritional, immunological and environmental factors that maximize the performance of the transgenics, safety and environmental impacts of the transgenic fish. The first successful development of a genetically engineered or transgenic fish was reported in 1985 with the human growth hormone microinjected into the fertilized egg of goldfish Carassius auratus. A DNA construct consisting of human growth hormone under the control of the mouse metallothionein promoter was injected into the germinal disc of an early stage goldfish embryo. This was followed by successful development of transgenic loach with human growth hormone gene. Many genetically engineered fish species have been developed since 1985 along with the various methods of inserting foreign gene into the fish such as microinjection, electroporation, infection with pantropic defective retroviral vectors, particle gun bombardment and sperm and testis mediated gene transfer methods. Till now, fish including Indian major carps, goldfish, Atlantic coho and Chinook salmon, rainbow and cutthroat trout, tilapia, striped bass, mudloach, channel catfish, common carp, Japanese medaka, northern pike, red and silver sea breams, wely and zebra fish have been genetically modified to produce selective traits such as increased growth, increased feed conservation efficiency, cold tolerance and disease resistance. Now we talk of super males. Using transgenic engineering, the aim is to produce super males, which when they are bred with females only produce male offsprings. The reason for working on male tilapia is that males grow faster and are larger and fleshier and therefore more popular with the consumers. Males also need less feed. The main aim is to generate male tilapias for consumption without the use of any harmful substances. That is why one goes for a genetic engineering technique for sex reversals in the fish, or in other words to get transsexual fish. The end result is the super male, that is the YY chromosomes. Breeding between a normal male, that is XY chromosome, and a female XX chromosomes, tilapia does not essentially lead to only male fry. According to some findings, half of the fry could be females. The male fry are given a particular diet for some days which make them phenotypically females, which look like females but are genetically XY males. Since these phenotypic females are capable of producing eggs, they are mated with normal males to produce a batch of fry containing 75% is male, thus diminishing the number of female offsprings. Males from this batch, when mated with the female tilapia, produce only male offsprings. Now we talk about artificial insemination in fish. Artificial insemination, that is the collection of spermatozoa and ova and their mixing together in various media that keeps spermatozoa motile. This is carried out in only a few species, mostly freshwater, such as salmonids, cyprinids and accipensids. Traditionally, freshwater or seawater for marine species is used as a medium in which the male and female gametes are mixed. However, freshwater is not a very favorable medium because hypotonic shock causes the sperm structure to deteriorate in several minutes and the egg is activated quickly. These problems can be avoided by using media as various saline solutions of different composition depending on the species. These media prevent sperm deterioration, prolong slightly the duration of motility and prevent or defer the cortical reaction. These solutions also prevent the yolk of the crushed eggs from precipitating when it comes in contact with the water, limit motility and block the micropyle. Fish farmers are beginning to use various media, so significantly increasing the fertilization rate while reducing the number of spermatozoa used for insemination. The length of gamete survival is an important factor to consider in carrying out artificial reproduction. In vivo gamete survival, that is after the release of sperms and oocytes from the cysts and follicles, vary with the species. Sperm's fertilizing ability decreases during the spawning period in the sea bass and trout, but not in carp. Ovum survival in the general or ovarian cavity is from 1 to several weeks in salmonids, several hours in carp at 20 degrees centigrade and only 30 minutes in Chinese carp. In vitro survival is from 1 to several weeks for sperms under oxygen and with antibiotics added, and several hours for ova, that is 2 to 4 hours in carp and 12 to 24 hours in trout. The spermatozoa of several teleost species have been stored deep frozen, but the quality of the sperm is not as good and more spermatozoa per ovum have to be used to obtain same percentage of fertilization as with the non-frozen sperm. The procedure of artificial insemination using frozen sperms comprises the following 3 steps. Number 1, collection of mature unfertilized eggs. Second, thawing of frozen sperm. And third, insemination using the thawed sperm. Long storage of sperms in liquid nitrogen does not affect the fertilization rate. Starting from 100 fertilized eggs, at least 50 fish can be obtained using a capillary full of frozen sperms. The procedure can be scaled up or down as appropriate, combining sperm for several capillaries or using a clipped part of capillary. That is, a capillary can be clipped using chilled nippers. There are 3 possible ways to collect mature unfertilized eggs. Number 1, squeezing the female abdomen. Number 2, making a section in the abdomen and isolating the ovaries. Or number 3, by mating females with sterile males. Artificial insemination has the following benefits. It allows best genetic material to perpetuate by the selection of best males for sperm collection. It allows easy fertilization of eggs at any time, as in some species of fish there is no synchronization of gamete maturation in males and females. Sperms, that is the gene pool, can be transported to various regions across the globe easily and conveniently. Now we talk about cryopreservation. Cryopreservation is a process where biological materials such as cells and tissues are preserved by cooling to very low temperatures, usually at minus 196 degrees centigrade, the temperature of liquid nitrogen. Yet they remain viable after later warming to temperatures above 0 degrees centigrade. It makes possible almost indefinite storage of the desirable gene pools and ensures the availability of cryopreserved semen for artificial insemination or breeding. Nearly 60 years have elapsed since the first demonstration of effective cryopreservation of the sperm, which was made by Polge and his co-workers in 1949. It led a major breakthrough in animal husbandry with successful cryopreservation attempt on bull spermatozoa. Soon after, first report on fish sperm cryopreservation was published by Blackster in 1953, and since then flurry of publications demonstrating the feasibility of cryopreserving the fish semen from a large number of marine and freshwater species have appeared in the literature related to fisheries. To date, milt of over 200 species of freshwater and marine fish have been cryopreserved. Advantage of cryopreserving the fish semen is well established. It is not only a useful management tool, it offers several benefits such as stock protection from being totally eliminated due to sudden outbreak of disease, natural disaster, overexploitation, etc. Other applications of cryopreservation include: number 1, stable supply of sperms for optimal utilization in hatchery production and laboratory experiments. Number 2, easy stock transportation among hatcheries. Improvement in selective breeding whereby stock can be maintained more economically and effectively. Experimental material for advanced studies such as gene transfer. A number of different protocols are advocated in literature for preserving of fish semen, but most of them are concerned with the salmonids, tilapia and carp. Extenders and cryoprotectants are important and play a vital role in cryopreservation. Irrespective of the species, fish semen requires dilution before it has to be cryopreserved. Extenders used for diluting the fish semen are generally designed to be compatible with the physiochemical composition of seminal fluid of the candidate species. The chemical constituents of extenders vary enormously. A range of cryoprotective agents of permeating and non-permeating categories are available for the use to minimize cryo injuries during cooling and thawing process. The DMSO, that is the dimethyl sulfoxide, and glycerol are widely used cryoprotective agents. Suitability of extenders and cryoprotectants differ from one fish to another. Semen is commonly packed in cryovials, plastic straws or visco tubes, cooled over liquid nitrogen vapors or in programmable freezer and stored in liquid nitrogen. Fish semen can also be cryopreserved as pellets on dry ice blocks and then stored in kept cryovials in liquid nitrogen. Various cooling methods have been successfully used to cryopreserve the fish sperm. Careful manipulation of temperature exclusion is required to control the size, configuration and location of ice crystals. Thus, choice and concentration of cryoprotectants and rate of cooling is needed to be optimized for each species as the basis for any protocol development. From the current state of art of fish spermatozoa cryopreservation and species differences, one universal protocol cannot be suggested, since response to cryoprotectant and freezing vary with the different biology. Thus, optimization of the protocol is needed for each individual species through some general rules as applied for each species. For the development of any reliable protocols for fish semen cryopreservation, emphasis should always be placed on the standardization. Now we talk about cryopreservation of gametes and gene banking. Cryopreservation, as said earlier, is a technique which involves long-term preservation and storage of biological material at a very low temperature, usually at 196 degrees centigrade, that is the temperature of liquid nitrogen. It is chiefly based on the principle that very low temperatures tranquilize or immobilize the physiological and biochemical activities of the cell, thereby making it possible to keep them viable for a longer length of time. The spermatozoa of almost all cultivable fish species have now been cryopreserved. Cryopreservation overcomes problems of male maturing before the females, allows selective breedings and stock improvements, and enables the conservation. One of the emerging requirements for that can be used by the breeders for evolving new strains. Aquatic gene bank, however, suffers from the fact that at present it is possible to cryopreserve only the male gametes of finfishes, and there are no viable techniques for finfish eggs and embryos. However, the recent reports on the freezing of shrimp embryos look promising. Therefore, it is essential that gene banking of cultivated and cultivable aquatic species be undertaken expeditiously. Now we talk about embryo preservation. The dramatic decline in fish populations necessitates urgent action to enable gametes and embryo cryopreservation as an aid to conservation. However, high yolk content and low membrane permeabilities have frustrated their successful cryopreservation by limiting water removal and cryoprotectant penetration. Researchers are exploring new approaches to overcoming these barriers to their cryopreservation techniques. The collapse of both freshwater and marine fish populations is causing great concern, and there is an increasing loss of fish species from many habitats. Retention of the genetic resource and the opportunity to ensure species survival and possible restocking depends on our availability to conserve relative material. Ideally, such a conservation program would involve the cryobanking of eggs, sperms and early embryos. Whilst the cryopreservation of fish sperms has in the main been relatively successful, fish oocytes and embryos have not been successfully cryopreserved. There appear to be two main barriers to their cryopreservation. Number one, low membrane permeability makes the removal of water from the material and the penetration by cryoprotective agents is difficult. Number two, the large yolk mass of the oocyte and early embryo represents a compartment that is particularly difficult to reduce water activity. Both these features result in ice crystal formation during the freezing process. In addition, oocytes and embryos are prone to chilling injuries unrelated to ice crystal damage. Research on fish embryo cryopreservation at Luton is currently focused on three new approaches. Number one, permeabilization of embryo membranes through media modification and ultrasound treatment. Number two, direct modification of the yolk mass by micromanipulation, the use of impedance spectroscopy for rapid assessment of embryo membrane permeability. The approach to fish oocyte cryopreservation has been directed at optimizing low toxicity cryoprotectant mixtures and their use in protecting oocytes at a range of sub-zero temperatures. Both the embryo and oocyte programs are considering both slow cooling and rapid cooling, that is vitrification protocols, as the freezing method in the study on the effect of external medium composition on membranes. Lastly, we discuss the economics of production. Indian fisheries and aquaculture is an important sector of food production, providing nutritional security to the food basket, contributing to the agriculture exports and engaging about 14 million people in different activities. With diverse resources ranging from deep seas to lakes and the mountains and more than 10% of the global biodiversity in terms of fish and shellfish species, the country has shown continuous and sustained increments in fish production since independence. Constituting about 4.4% of the global fish production, the sector contributes to 1.1% of the GDP and 4.7% of the agriculture GDP. The total fish production of 6.57 million metric tons represently has nearly 55% contribution from the inland sectors and nearly the same from the culture species. Fish and fish products have presently emerged as the largest group in agriculture exports of India. The potential area of biotechnology in aquaculture include the use of synthetic hormones in induced breeding, transgenic fish, gene banking, uniparental and polyploidy populations, and health management. The rapidly increasing human population has resulted in demand of increasing amounts of food, not only food derived from agriculture, but also food from natural aquatic ecosystems and from aquaculture farms. The food derived from aquaculture includes cultured algae or seaweeds, finfishes and shellfishes. Worldwide, the demand for fish continues to increase at a higher rate than wild fish population, which cannot support. Current fishing practices are proving increasingly unsustainable because of the diminishing global fish stocks due to overexploitation and outbreaks of disease, thus threatening the biodiversity. These concerns on depleting natural fish stocks, together with an ever-increasing global market for food fish, have led to a series of technological innovations such as transgenics and DNA vaccine technology to achieve increased production from aquaculture.
Now let's summarize the topic at the end. Biotechnology provides the powerful tool for the sustainable development of aquaculture, fisheries as well as the food industry. Increased public demand for seafood and decreasing natural marine habitats have encouraged scientists to study the ways that biotechnology can increase the production of marine food products and making aquaculture as a growing field of animal research. Biotechnology allows scientists to identify and combine traits in fish and shellfish to increase the productivity and improve quality. Modern biotechnology is already making important contribution and poses significant challenges to aquaculture and fisheries development. It perceives that modern biotechnologies should be used as adjuncts to and not as substitutes for conventional technologies in solving problems, and that their application should be need driven rather than technology driven. Cryopreservation of milt can increase the number of offsprings from genetically superior males and speeding up the breeding process. For the production of commercial eggs, frozen milt increases the possibilities of varied production of techniques and increased operational efficiencies. Also, preservation of fish eggs and embryos offer a means for gene conservation of the rare and endangered species and also a means to perpetuate the genetic pool of the healthy and more commercially viable fish stock. Thank you.